Всем привет, добрый день, guys. Good afternoon from the city of Mogilov. I'm in eastern Belarus. Came here for a couple of days just to relax, chill out before I go back to work. Now, I've received a number of questions from you guys. I put out the call for the Q&A. So today, I'm going to answer your questions. All right, let's do this. Let's go on a little journey around the city. Mogilov, my Gorod, Mogilov, my city. How quaint. Well, where I am right now, guys, I am in the Dnipro Stadium in the main grandstand. This is actually quite a nice stadium. I was just talking to a gentleman over there about a few minutes ago, and he was telling me this stadium fits approximately 5,500 people. Very nice, very tidy stadium. And of course, it's the home stadium of the home side, Dnipro Mogilov. Now, if you recall, I actually did cover them in a video I made about 3 years ago in Rogatchov at the Dnipro Derby. That was Dnipro Mogilov against Dnipro Rogatchov. And of course, Mogilov won that game by 6 goals to 1. Quite an entertaining game, which I met the Mogilov Ultras. And I think they actually go over there. That's where they normally go. But anyway, quite a nice stadium. And that leads me on to the first question, okay? And that question is, I received it from 9180, and he said, how do you find making friends in Belarus? Well, guys, if you come to events like this, the football matches like this, and if you pal around with some of the ultras, you will make friends easily enough. But outside of football anyway, the best way to make friends, if you get a job, if you work, you can form a social group within your workspace. And that's exactly how I made friends and how I get on here in Belarus. But most people here in Belarus, they meet friends from school or from university. They're quite close-knit and they keep friends for a very, very, very long time. Now, my experience of Belarusian people, they're a bit closed as such. They're not as open as Russians or Ukrainians, they're cousins. However, they are very good, very genuine people, very phlegmatic and very, very pragmatic people as well. They are. But anyway, this is quite a nice stadium. I actually think it's quite nicer than the RSC in Waterford. So this is it. The Dnipro Stadium. They actually did quite well in the Europa League about 2010, 2011. They got to the playoff but were beaten by Villarreal. Actually, I remember that. Okay, let's move on to our next location. Well, guys, if you're ever in Mogilov, check out this fine building here. This building behind me, with the ultimate statue of Lenin, is actually the headquarters of the local Mogilov Central Committee, City Central Committee. This is where the local council, local committee conduct all their business affairs, etc. and so on. There's actually quite an interesting story about this building here. This building was actually built in 1938 by a very famous architect, a guy by the name of Yusuf Longbart, who was a very famous architect in the Soviet Union at the time. And the reason why they built that huge building behind me was because at the time they were considering moving the capital from Minsk to Mogilov. And the reason is because the old border between the Soviet Union and the Second Polish Republic was a lot closer than it was. The border was only about 30 kilometers from Minsk. That's why they decided, that's why they were thinking about moving the border, moving the capital of the BSSR from Minsk to Mogilov. Yeah, that's why you got such this massive building here right behind me. However, events overtook this part of the world, and of course it never happened. The actual capital stayed in Minsk and the border moved further west, consolidated after the Second World War. Quite an interesting building. And some of the locals say, well, that's the best Lenin statue in all of Belarus. Who am I to argue with that? So that leads me on then to the next question, and it's a question that I got. It's from Instagram, one of my Instagram subscribers, Jack Travers, and he sent me this. It's in Russian, so I'll answer him in Russian. And he said as follows: Сколько русский вам нужно знать в путешествиях в Belarus? Я ирландец, big fan of your channel. Well, Jack, я отвечу ваш вопрос. Я честен. Вам нужен русский язык на покупку для всего. Добрый день. Здравствуйте. Да, можно 05, пожалуйста. Один.
Конечно, сейчас.
Спасибо. Это свежий.
Конечно, сегодня.
О, очень рад, очень рад. Сколько стоит?
Рубль,
Рубль, да? Возьмите.
пожалуйста.
О, спасибо большое. It's amazing. Kvass, the drink of the gods. Moving on to my next question, and it is as follows, also from Instagram, and it's from Peter, and he asked me, what standard is your Russian and how long did it take to reach? Okay, I'll tell you what my standard is. Approximately intermediate or B1 level. It's not great, it's not bad. It's enough to get around, just to have strike a conversation with people, and it's enough to do the ordinary mundane things in life. That's all pretty much all you need. Hey doggy. Pretty much that's all you need, by the way. So you don't need to really focus on grammar, just vocabulary. And once you know your way around, everything else will follow. So that is my Russian, and it took me about a couple of years to get to grips with it. It is a very difficult language to learn, to try and master, but you don't have to discuss Dostoevsky, etc. Just to know enough to get around and to talk to people. And that is it. All right, let's move on. I have to say, guys, today it's not so hot as it was yesterday. It's actually quite nice and cool, and that kvass did the absolute job. No trip, of course, is complete without a Soviet mural. Check it out, guys. October, in relation to the great October Socialist Revolution. And we have Svoboda, freedom, mir, peace, земля, land, trud, labor, chleb, bread. And that leads me on nicely to the next question. And it's from Glasnost Antiques. And he asked me as follows: does Minsk have any flea markets? Yes, it does. If you look back at the library on my channel, you will see way back in November 2019, I actually did make a video from a place called Polyachudis. This means the Field of Miracles. Since Zhdanovichi, which is northwest of Minsk, you can buy anything and everything there. Anything and everything in Polyachudis. And yeah, actually got a lot of interest, a lot of views from that video. Highly recommended you check it out, although a lot of my friends said it's not as good as what it was 10, 15, 20 years ago. Obviously shops have become more diversified, people have moved on, etc. But yeah, that place, Polyachudis, in a place called Zhdanovichi, northwest of Minsk, and easy to reach it by train from Minsk. So yeah, check it out. It is absolutely an awesome place. And your second question: when do you think flights from UK will open up again direct? Again, I have no idea what's going to happen there on that front in relation to direct flights from the UK to Belarus. We'll see what happens. But anyway, I will leave a link in the video description below that will take you to that video that I made from Polyachudas. Absolutely awesome place. I met some great people there. Yeah, I love these Soviet murals. Look what you're missing out on, guys. Get your ass to Belarus. Catch some awesome murals like that. Right now, I'm more or less in the center of Mogilov. This is the Ratusha. This was part of the old fortress, the Mogilov Fortress, that was built here in the time of the Grand Duchy of Lithuania. It's quite a beautiful place. And I was actually right up there at the very top. I made a video there about 2 years ago. I was there. And yeah, you have to have a head for heights. It's quite windy. Indeed. That leads me on to the next question. And I get a lot of these questions from people from both on Instagram and on YouTube. And I feel that I need to address this issue. And this is from Alec Payne from YouTube. And he wrote to me amazing videos. Thank you very much. Is it possible for an American to visit Belarus these days? Yes, it is. I won't be picked up by any secret police, as there is no embassy. Okay guys, now, as I mentioned, I get a lot of these messages from a lot of people from different nationalities, and I feel I just have to address this, what I call as just pure scaremongering. Now, about 2 weeks ago, the American embassy here in Minsk, there is still an embassy here, well, I don't know if it's opened or not, but they advised all Americans to leave the country immediately given the deteriorating situation. So they asked Americans, any American in the country, American citizen, to leave via the land borders or via the airport. When I look at the Western media, it's just total propagandized, to say the least. I read different Western media, independent media, and yeah, it's, as I mentioned, there's a lot of scaremongering out there in relation to this country. So my advice to you, Alec, just completely ignore the scaremongering and come to Belarus. UK citizens can come here as well. You can get a visa, you can fly to Vilnius, get your tourist visa there at the Belarusian embassy. It's very, very easy to get, and come across by the land border via Lithuania, get the bus from Vilnius to Minsk. I've taken that bus many times down through the years. And also please check out Anfisa's channel as well. She's doing a very, very good job selling Belarus, and also my good friend Andrei Burdenkov. You know Andrei, I've done a couple of collabs with him, and yeah, he's quite busy at the moment in relation to helping quite a number of people, Westerners, who want to relocate from the West here to Belarus. So yeah, ignore the propaganda, ignore the scaremongering, and come to Belarus. Enjoy this country. This is a great country. And the strange thing is, it's not just the American embassy that is engaging in the scaremongering. It's also the Department of Foreign Affairs in Dublin, of my own country, Ireland. You know, if you go to the website, they say don't travel, leave the country immediately. And yet here's a strange one. They know that I'm here, living and working here, and I haven't received any messages from the likes regarding this. So if I'm here, if I'm living and working here safe and well, and Anfisa is busy and Andrei is busy getting people to relocate here to Belarus, well, it's perfectly normal, safe. Some dudes sitting on the bench, skateboarders over here. Yeah. And actually, Americans, I'll say this, the ironic thing is, you're actually far safer here in Mogilov than you are in Minneapolis or in any other big city in the United States, especially in Memphis. Yeah, what a beautiful evening this is turning out to be. Gorgeous. That there is the Zags, and that's where you go to get married with your bird. There it is, the old Zags, and it's open.